Well, I told you we had some great programs online, and today is one that's very special. And to introduce our speaker today is Tom Rankin, and he is a member of the University Sunrise Club, and he's president and CEO of the Washington Clean Tech Alliance. So Tom, take it away. It's all yours.
Thank you very much. So my name is Tom Rankin. I'm president of the Washington Clean Technology Alliance. The Washington Clean Technology Alliance is a corporate trade association of 300 companies working in the clean sector to build more companies, more economic growth in the nation. And based here in Seattle, we're focused on Washington State. We have a lot of diversity in our group, but there are two things I think everybody does agree about. One is we have big problems in energy, the economy, and the environment, and there's no one single solution that will solve all those. And two, we like to hear from really smart people that can tell us things that we don't know. And we have one of those people here today. Governor Todd Whitman has served as co-chair of the Clean and Safe Energy Coalition since it was formed in 2006. As co-chair, she connects with policymakers, business associations, scholars, and community leaders to discuss the benefits of nuclear energy and promote a diverse energy portfolio. She served in the cabinet of President George W. Bush as administrator, the top job in the EPA from 2001 to 2003, and she was the 50th and first woman governor of New Jersey, serving from 1994 to 2001. Since leaving the EPA, she served as president of the Whitman Strategy Group, a consulting firm that specializes in energy and environmental issues, and she served as co-chair of the Republican Leadership Council from 2006 to 2011, and is the author of the New York Times bestseller, It's My Party Too. As you would expect, she has served on a number of boards, including the Council on Foreign Relations, Eisenhower Fellowships, American Security Project, the Center for Sustainable Shale Development, the Aspen Health Stewardship, Reform New Jersey Now, and the Institute of Politics at Harvard University. She's married to John Whitman, has 2 kids, and 6 grandchildren. Thank you very much for being here, and we're looking forward to your comments.
Well, thank you very much for that kind introduction, and I guess I should say congratulations or commiserations to your new president. I'm not sure which. I've heard from a couple of your members now, and I really am not sure anymore, but be that as it may. I am delighted to be here. I thank you very much for turning on the weather, but more importantly, I really haven't ever had a chance to come back to Seattle to thank you for taking such good care of the USS New Jersey. The BB-62 was here. She was dry docked. We got her back while I was governor. She was the largest dead tow through the Panama Canal, and she came back in good shape, and she now serves as a lesson to children in Camden, serving all of New Jersey and Pennsylvania, New York, as a site for people to help understand the enormous contribution that our military, and particularly in this case our Navy, has made to protecting our country. And I thank all Washingtonians for taking such good care of her while she was here. In my role, you heard a little bit about the fact that I am co-chair of something called the Clean and Safe Energy Coalition. It fits because throughout my political career as governor, as head of the Environmental Protection Agency, I've always tried to help give people facts, because I think, like most of us, I understand that you can't make good decisions if you don't have facts. And you can't have a reasoned discussion if you don't have facts. Since CASEnergy was founded in 2006, I've traveled the country, meeting with a variety of different groups, with individuals, with labor leaders, representative of Americans business community, healthcare groups, environmental groups, to talk about, as you heard, nuclear energy. The role it plays today in our energy mix, the role it could and should play in the future, and the options that we have for meeting our growing energy demands. Forums like this are a perfect opportunity to start that kind of discussion, to have that kind of discussion, and so I'm delighted to be here today, because the decisions we make about energy today truly affect our future. They are what will not only affect our energy supply, but our overall economy, our job market, and our environment. And those are important and critical things. By taking advantage of all of our country's energy resources and investing in a diverse and very balanced energy portfolio, we can make great strides toward providing not just today but future generations with plentiful, reliable electricity and a clean environment. And I think that's what all of us understand that we need and that we want for ourselves in the future. According to the Energy Information Administration, our country's electricity demands are projected to grow by 28% by 2040. That may sound like a long way away, but for those of you who are involved in the utility industry, you know that's yesterday as far as the decisions one has to make and the investments you have to make now. It's going to take a diverse mix of energy resources and conservation initiatives to satisfy our nation's ever-growing appetite for energy. And it is something that is not ending. Even if our economy may be growing slowly, I would challenge all of you, how many new electronic devices do you have that have to plug in and be charged every day? If you think about it, it's going to continue, and we need to have a variety of sources to be able to overcome the challenges that poses to us. Nuclear energy, with its stable production price and its high level of reliability, has an indisputable role, I would argue, to play in a diverse energy portfolio. It's not a silver bullet, it's not a sole answer, but it has an important role to play. Nuclear-generated electricity today provides electricity for 1 out of every 5 homes in the United States. And this energy it is the #1 source of clean energy across the United States. Not here in Washington State. You all are way ahead of the rest of the country. But around the country, nuclear energy is far and away the largest source of clean power. And not only is it climate friendly, it doesn't emit any of the criteria pollutants about which we care so much. Sulfur dioxide, which causes acid rain. We have nitrogen oxide, which contributes to smog, and mercury, which leads to water and air pollution. None of those are released when nuclear is producing power. An important part of the environmental discussions that we have underway today in this country. As a baseload, always-on source of electricity, nuclear is also crucial for the expansion of the intermittent energies of which we want to see more, solar and wind, because they are intermittent. They don't run all the time 24/7. The role nuclear energy plays as part of a clean energy portfolio can't be overstated, particularly given the backdrop of climate change and carbon consciousness that we have today. On June 2nd, the EPA released its draft regulations for greenhouse gas emissions for existing power plants, subject to a lot of discussions around the country. It's important to note in this context the role that nuclear energy plays in that affordable, reliable, clean energy mix by producing 64% of our clean energy in the country. And that's why the Energy Secretary, the Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, and President Obama have all said in this context that nuclear energy is an integral part of meeting that goal. And for those of you who saw the article today on a report released yesterday that was done for the United Nations, not by them but for them, talking about if we are going to have an impact on climate change, if we are going to try to get it to a point where we can exist with the lifestyle that we want to maintain, we are going to have cleaner sources of energy. We're going to have to rely more on electricity, and that is going to mean more nuclear as the only way to address these issues. As one of the things that we do at CASEnergy Coalition is to continue to mobilize voices in recognition of this contribution that nuclear can and does make. And America's commitment to clean energy future is nowhere do you see it more clearly demonstrated than here in Washington in the energy market. According to a report that was conducted by the consultancy IHS-CERA, the Columbia Generating Station is currently a key factor and plays a key role in the Northwest Regional Power System supply portfolio. They are critical to its going forward. The Columbia Generating Station provides about 9 million customers with electricity that they've come to expect in the way they've come to expect it, reliably regularly, affordably, and it's efficient. Those are the things that we're looking for. Those are the things that are being provided today, and I thank you for doing it. Looking ahead, Columbia is licensed for another 30 years and remains a key to meeting these sorts of consumer demands. The operation of Columbia through 2043 also provides some $1.6 billion in savings compared to the lowest cost estimate that has been made for retiring that plant, which speaks to the importance of ensuring that we continue to operate, and it continues to operate in the safe way that it has been in the recent past. Columbia's licensed, Columbia operations also contribute and have prevented some 3.6 million metric tons of carbon from being released, carbon dioxide emissions, an important something that we should remember for the health of this whole region. The continuation of Columbia's operation also remains a key component in the Northwest current energy demands. The energy produced by Columbia is transferred for the Bonneville Power Administration, where it's delivered to utilities across the state of Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and Nevada. That's a big role and an important role in this whole region. The Columbia Generating Station has the only operating nuclear facility located in Washington state, and thus is adding to this state's diverse energy portfolio. But if a cleaner energy portfolio is a goal, and if mitigating climate change is an imperative, we must continue to develop new and advanced technologies to make energy affordable and reliable and clean. We can't stop. We have a long way to go. You should be very proud that so many of the clean tech fields are housed right here in the Northwest. This is where the ideas are coming from. This is going to mean a real economic stimulus, I believe, to the rest of the country. The Northwest is a leader in so many of those fields. Washington State is the home to TerraPower, which is a company founded by a former Microsoft chief technology officer and working on an exciting new nuclear technology to develop an advanced reactor design that holds the promise to make nuclear energy more affordable, more easily deployable, more proliferate, resistant, and able to consume spent nuclear rods to limit the amount of spent power that ever has to be stored anywhere. And just across the Columbia River in Portland, NuScale Power has been working on the development of a small modular reactor, MSR, as they are called today. They're nuclear plants that are significantly smaller in size compared to the 1,000 megawatt average plant that you see around the country, the 100 operating plants that we have today. And they're smaller in size. They have a number of potential benefits. They have lower capital cost investments. They advance safety measures. They have more flexibility. They're made inside and can be moved to the site and put on site where they're needed. They have that greater efficiency. With SMR Technology, co-founder Dr. Jose Reyes is confident that he can simplify nuclear energy structure while protecting the benefits of nuclear energy, such as clean, efficient, sustainable development, and do it in a way that simultaneously improves the safety and reduces the cost of construction, operation, and decommissioning. There is huge hope, and it's very exciting about the potential for these new small modular reactors. In 2013, NuScale was awarded $217 million in funding from the Department of Energy to further accelerate the development of SMR technologies. And as the only US-based company established solely for the commercialization of SMR technology, NuScale's innovation and technological advancement in this sector is drawing a lot of excitement from around the country. And with so many expecting NuScale to become one of the first companies to deploy SMRs around the country and in the world, NuScale has partnered with Energy Northwest and the Utah Association of Associated Municipal Power Systems to study the decommissioning of an SMR in Idaho, a demonstration SMR in Idaho by 2024. Engaging in the Northwest's growing nuclear technology market, the Nuclear Radiation Center at Washington State University is actively training and providing local college students with the skills needed to work in the nuclear energy field. There is going to be an enormous need for new people working in nuclear energy, and that spans the entire spectrum of needs. It's not just nuclear scientists and engineers, but we need a lot of those as well. And they are good paying jobs that don't go anywhere once a nuclear reactor is up and operated. But the training at the Washington State students receive through the program allows them to become Nuclear Regulatory Commission licensed operators, senior reactor operators. They perform jobs as tour guides at reactors, reactive material handlers, experimentation advisors, safety compliance officers, research associates, emergency coordinators, and radiation control advisors, all part of their training, which leads to real jobs with real salaries at the end of their time. In addition, the center performs work for national labs, a number of national labs, such as the Idaho National Laboratories, Pacific Northwest National Laboratories, and Los Alamos National Laboratories, providing expertise from which the whole country can benefit. These types of investments and programs are just a few examples of what's going on in this field of nuclear technology and here in the Northwest. And once these initiatives reach full potential, it will be one more reason why policymakers and influencers alike will continue to embrace nuclear energy as a sustainable part of our energy portfolio. These innovations are critical. They're critical not just to the United States, but also to global nuclear technology. For decades, America was on the cutting edge of nuclear technologies. And then in 1970, we decided that we didn't want to pursue it anymore, and we lost some of that competitive edge. We're getting it back now, but we live in a globalized world, and our competition is no longer just amongst ourselves here in the United States. It comes from countries like Russia, China, South Korea, and France. Those countries often have direct state support for their nuclear technology exports, making these innovations even more critical to global competitiveness. And that's why agencies like the XM Bank are so important to our ability to sustain and get a part of this growing international market. We need to see that reauthorized. It's that often acts as a lender of last resort to support American exports that are critical for keeping our industries competitive in the global marketplace. Notably, there are 5 current nuclear reactors under construction in the United States, 2 in South Carolina, 2 in Georgia, and 1 of the TVA, which is one that had been previously licensed and is now, but was never built. And nuclear energy is expanding even more internationally. There are 72 currently being built around the world, and an additional 170 facilities in the licensed or advanced planning stages. The economic benefits of the export of nuclear technologies is enormous. Over the course of the next decade, just the next 10 years, nuclear energy market is expected to be worth between $500 and $740 billion. If we can capture just a small part of that, we will literally mean thousands of jobs here in the United States. And 4 reactors currently being built in China, which are using the AP Westinghouse 1000 technologies, have already created 15,000 jobs here in the United States. 90% of the component parts are made here in America. And if I put on my former governor's hat, I say we have an opportunity to bring some manufacturing jobs back here, if we're smart about it. Not only the high-tech research and development and technology jobs, but basic manufacturing jobs. So this is an important area about which we need to think even more. And that's why I believe that nuclear energy must be a component of our balanced approach. The long-term benefits simply cannot be replaced by any other energy source. No other energy source offers us all that it does. The Clean, Safe Energy Coalition is about sharing that message, answering questions, offering people the opportunity to question. Because frankly, if all you know about nuclear is from The Simpsons, and I guess it's Bart who works at a plant and glows in the dark, if all you know about it is from my generation, the China syndrome or 3 Mile Island, you don't have the information that you need to make an informed decision on today's nuclear technology and the difference it can and could make. So I'd urge all of you, if you have an opportunity, to go on the website, the Clean Safe Energy Coalition website, take a look at it, see if it answers the questions you have. If it doesn't, ask us, and we will do our best to answer them, because I believe there are very good answers. Again, this is not something that is a silver bullet. There are no such things, much as we might like them in this country, much as we might want them, because nobody does it better than we do. If we say you do this one thing and you'll solve all the problems, we're great at that. That's not how it's going to work. But if we want to be sensible about this, we need to include everything, and nuclear, I believe, is a big part of it. So please go on the Clean Safe Energy Coalition website or pick up the materials that we have for you here. We'd love to have everybody members. We don't ask anything of our members. It doesn't cost anything to join. You don't have to do anything. But what we like is to have respected opinion makers part of a discussion that says you're not crazy if you want to consider nuclear as an integral part of a portfolio going forward. Thank you all very, very much for having invited me here today. Thank you. Yeah, I think
Laurel and George, you want to get the mics? We have time for 2 questions.
You get 3 at the same table. Come on, guys. Make it sure.
Governor Whitman, thank you very much for your remarks. 40 years ago, I was in high school, and we looked at this issue, had someone from TVA come out to Portland, and he commented that it was 1,000,001 chance that anything could go wrong with the construction or operation. And since that time, there's been a lot of accidents and stuff. So could you talk a little bit about how the safety is improving and can be improved further? And secondly, I always wondered if we invested the same amount in solar power, trillions perhaps over 40 years, how much that could have been advanced in the past 40 years, and why not solar?
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a question, no, it's not a question of either or. It's a question of both. We need solar, but solar and wind both depend on natural phenomena, the sun shining, the wind blowing. And those do not happen regularly all the time. So any one of those technologies require base power backup for the times when you're not getting the power from those sources. Now, we will get better at it. But don't forget, the nuclear energy industry has put a lot of their money. It's not just taxpayers' money in the nuclear energy industry, it is money from the utilities themselves, and that has helped spur the development. Have they had the opportunity for loan guarantees? Absolutely. And in fact, the nuclear energy industry has been working very closely with the wind industry and Congress to try to ensure that there are loan guarantees, because solar and wind could not exist without those loan guarantees. And the same thing, nuclear likes to have access to it, not that they want to take down the loans, but to have the access to it. As for safety, the worst event that we have had in this country was 3 Mile Island, and I was president of the State Board of Public Utilities in New Jersey for a few years after that occurred. Having said, that was a problem. There's no question about it. There was a partial meltdown in a core, wake-up call for the industry. But even those utility operators who were inside the utility at the time of the meltdown were not exposed to high levels of radiation. They have been followed for decades subsequent to that, and they don't see cancer clusters in that group. So it's not good. It's not what anyone wanted to have happen. But believe me, that is something that really kicked up the Nuclear Regulatory Commission's oversight. Our Nuclear Energy Institute, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and our nuclear industry is the most highly regulated in the world. They're constantly upgrading it. They did it after 9/11. They did it after Fukushima. They do it as a regular part. In fact, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission has somebody on site at every one of those nuclear reactors with full access to any part of the plant that they want to go to at any time. They don't work for the utility, they work for the NRC. So you can never say, I would never say 1001, because it's just, you can't say never. Can't say never in this world, but there are trade-offs with everything we do. And we are enormously good at saying no in this country. We don't want natural gas pipelines near us because they might explode. We don't like coal because it's dirty. We don't want wind because birds don't look the same when they come out of a windmill as they did going in. We're not crazy about solar power because it takes up a lot of space and some of the natural habitat is destroyed underneath it. We can say no to everything. What we need to do is have facts so that we can make a reasoned decision to decide what are the right trade-offs for us, what are going to work for us, and what makes sense for us. That's what we need to do.
Governor, we are truly honored to have you here with us today, and a donation of 1,000 pounds of food will be going to Rotary First Harvest in your name.
Seattle Rotary Online is made possible in part by a grant from First Choice Health, working with the Washington Health Information Collaborative to use technology to bring better health care to patients throughout the Pacific Northwest. First Choice Health.